Welcome to the Mainstream Paranormal Podcast. I am your host, Merle. With me, as always, my co-host, Larry.
Merle, how you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing all right. And yourself?
Doing quite well, thank you.
We're here to discuss all things paranormal. We'll also touch on conspiracies, a little true crime, and just other strange topics. If anyone has a topic they would like us to discuss on the show, just dig us up on Facebook. Our intro music was brought to you by
the Metalheads at Shortcut Productions.
This episode gonna be a fun one.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's the Dyatlov Pass incident.
Yep. This one has been baffling people for years, like 50-some years.
Yeah. They've actually made at least one movie about it.
Mm-hmm. One movie.
And that was called what?
Devil's Pass.
Devil's Pass?
Yeah. And it was actually... Devil's Pass was a movie where 5 students go in and try to solve the mystery of what happened.
Oh, okay.
And they try to make it like a documentary, but it's more like a sci-fi horror film. So,
it's gonna, man, it makes you think of that. Was it Chernobyl Diaries or whatever? Yeah. Man, making all stuff about these Russian stuff. But it's gonna be a little fun for us today. Of course, we both had to work last night, so we're kind of up early.
Very early.
Not knocking back a little alcohol.
Enjoying what they call a honey bear, by the good people of Bärenjäger.
So, yeah, if you got anybody from Bärenjäger hears about this, we could always use free alcohol.
We do enjoy it.
Being in the cemetery at night, kind of gets to you after a while. You just need to relax with some alcohol,
Yeah. Good for the old bones.
Oh, but yeah, the Dyatlov Pass incident. It was about the unsolved death. The alcohol's getting to me already. The unsolved deaths of nine hikers.
Yep.
In the northern Ural Mountains.
They were actually trying to go across the Urals to get to another mountain that was 6.2 miles. I'm just going to say 6 miles.
Yeah.
6 miles.
To 10 kilometers.
Yeah. From where they were actually going to go. It was a place called Otterin.
Some of these names you're just going to have to bear with us, people.
I want to say it's Otterin Mountain, which, I mean, in their dialect actually translates to don't go there.
Wow, yeah. Let's just go to a mountain that tells us right in its name not to go there.
Yeah, I mean, hey, I want to go. Yeah.
Yeah. And this actually, happened in the early part of February of 1959. So, I mean, let's do this in Russia in February like, you're going to have snow and sub-zero temperatures. I mean, because back in the late 50s, early 60s, their winter weather wear still wasn't as good, or it's not as good as it is now, like for hikers and stuff,
Yeah, but these are,
I mean,
one of them's an experienced, hiker, mountain hiker, so he knew what to have them all wear.
Yeah, the group, they're experienced, they're from the Ural Polytechnical Institute, which is an interesting name. And the reason it's called the Dyatlov Pass incident, it was in honor of the group's leader, Igor Dyatlov.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. But according to research, during the night, something caused them to actually cut their way out of their tent from the inside, mind you, and flee their campsite. I mean, and apparently, they weren't dressed for the weather.
Right.
Probably in their underwear and, no shoes. So if they're in their underwear in a campsite, I mean, you got, all these guys and, several women here, There's probably a little, what going on, trying to stay warm,
Well, you also got to think about this. What would terrify you enough to cut your way out of your own tent to get out of whatever's terrifying you?
Right. I mean, you got to think, you got a zipper, you can just unzip it.
Well, the tents back then didn't have zippers.
They had flaps, right?
Yeah, they had tie strings.
Okay, so, I mean, why would you need to cut your way out?
Exactly.
You just untie it and go.
Yeah, and it had two open ends,
but still,
on the tent.
I mean...
So you can bolt either way.
Right. What's going to frighten you that much that you're going to run out without your clothes on?
Yeah. I mean, there's been rumors that there was an avalanche coming.
Yeah.
But when they found the tent, there was no signs of an avalanche.
Right. I mean, there was a little bit of snow up on it, but not like an avalanche. And from the way that this group set it up, their tent up, and the location that it set up, even if there was an avalanche, it would have went around the tent.
Yeah, because actually dug I can't remember the name. They dug a hole down into the snow, so it actually made like a snowbank.
Mm-hmm.
And then they put the tent inside the hole, so whatever came would,
Yeah. But yeah. So actually, there was an investigation done by the Soviet Union authorities after the group's bodies were discovered. That determined that 6 of them died from hypothermia, while the other 3 showed signs of physical trauma.
Right.
And it says 1 victim had a fractured skull and 2 others had major chest fractures.
Then they also say that there was no soft tissue damage.
Right.
So how can a person sustain that kind of damage without any soft tissue damage?
So I mean, no human could cause that kind of damage to them without. So it's not like one of them went crazy and
started wailing and
right.
Because there'd be bruising and all that, but none of these people had that going on.
Yeah, and didn't one of them was missing her tongue?
Yeah, one of the girls was actually missing her tongue, and she actually had a fractured skull.
Okay, yeah, I got something about missing her tongue and eyes.
Wow.
So yeah, the investigation concluded that an unknown compelling force had caused the deaths.
An unknown compelling force.
Yeah, but in that, according to the research, that it was in quotes.
That's crazy.
Unknown compelling force. So, I mean, there's numerous theories, like you said, the avalanche, some kind of animal attack. Let's see. Infrasound induced panic.
Yeah, that was one scientist's theory. And he was trying to prove that, and it didn't work so well.
The military.
Yeah, a lot of people said it was a military experiment that messed up, and they got in the middle of it.
Yeah, and I remember hearing something or reading something about them talking about seeing some kind of orange light or something like that in the sky. So, I mean, this could be, aliens, or heck, could be a freaking, what was it, a Yeti, something like that, maybe. I mean, I don't know if they got Yetis in Russia or not.
They do. They say they do, anyway,
Yeah. Yeah, I see something here. It's could be a Russian Yeti or mink. Heck, when I think of mink, I think the little furry animals that they make the coats and stuff out of.
Now, you mentioned a unknown compelling force.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I broke out the old trusty internet, and I looked up what could be considered an unknown compelling force, and guess what it brought me to?
This incident?
Yes.
There
is no definition of a unknown compelling force, but it brings you to Dyatlov Pass.
Man, that's screwed up, dude. It hadn't been used for anything else.
No,
basically.
Nothing.
Oh, that's good. But
there's nothing as far as a definitive definition of it.
Mm-hmm.
It brings you to our subject.
Damn. But all right, a little background. A group was formed. A group was formed for a skiing expedition across the northern Urals. I don't even know how to pronounce that. Sverdlovsk Oblast, Soviet Union. Igor Dyatlov at the time was a 23-year-old radio engineering student at the Ural Polytechnical Institute. He was a leader. He assembled a group of 9 others for the trip. So the group consisted of 8 men and 2 women. So getting back to that naked time, it's kind of bad,
Yeah.
8 men and 2 women. But yeah, they were all experienced grade 2 hikers with ski tour experience.
So see, they knew
and
how
would
to,
be receiving a grade 3 upon the return of this trip.
So they knew how to dress for that weather.
Oh yeah, yeah. And grade 3 is the highest certification available in the Soviet Union, which required candidates to traverse 300 kilometers, or 190 miles.
Huh.
And this route that they took in February was estimated as a Category 3, the most difficult.
Wasn't something mentioned about radiation?
Yeah. I think one was talking about radiation as far as what their injuries, radiation, exposure, something like that. So the group arrived by train to a town at the center of this Sverdlovsk, yeah, whatever this Sverdlovsk Oblast. In the early morning of January 25th, 1959. And they took a train to Versailles. Got anything on that? Versailles?
Mm-hmm.
A Lori village that is the last inhabited settlement to the north. And apparently they purchased and ate loaves of bread to keep their energy levels up for the following day. So, I mean, they knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
You know? So, they began on the 27th is when they began their trek toward that. How do you pronounce that mountain? Otteran? Otteran? Yeah, that's it. But on January 28th, one of their members, a Yuri Yudin, who suffered from several health ailments, including congenital heart defect, was forced to turn back because of knee and joint pain.
So he was the lucky one.
So yeah, he was the lucky one. And I think I got something that he actually which saved his butt. He actually died in 2013, so he lived to be 75.
Wow.
So I mean, most of these people died in their early 20s.
You know,
had one. The oldest one was 38.
Jeez. You know, I was still trying to figure out what the unknown compelling force meant.
Mm-hmm.
Came across this other site. I was going down through it. And said the official statement on what happened was about as vague and as covering as possible, saying it was caused by an unknown compelling force. In layman terms, this means fuck if we know.
Yeah. It's always nice when your government says that, you know? But, let's see let's keep going on this. So after that guy turned back, the remaining 9 continued. And their diaries and cameras were found at their last campsite. So it made it possible to track the group's route up to the day of the incident.
Mm-hmm.
And on January 31st, the group arrived at the edge of the highland area and began to prepare for climbing. In a wooded valley, they put together a surplus food and equipment that they'd use for the trip back. So there again, you know, they know how to survive.
Right.
So on the following day of January 1st, the hikers started to move through the pass. So apparently they planned to go over the pass and make camp for the next night on the opposite side. But because of the weather getting worse and snowstorms and decreasing visibility, they lost their direction and deviated west up towards the top of Kolot. Sayako. When they realized their mistake, the group decided to stop and set up camp on the edge. Set up their camp on the slope of the mountain rather than moving another kilometer and a half downhill to the forested area, which would offer them some shelter from the elements.
Mm-hmm.
Dyatlov probably didn't want to lose their altitude they had gained, or he decided to practice camping on the mountain slope. But before leaving, apparently, that Igor Dyatlov had agreed he would send a telegram to the sports club as soon as the group returned to how do you pronounce that word? Vizhai. It was expected that this would happen no later than somewhere around February the 12th.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, when the 12th passed and no messages had been received, there wasn't any immediate reaction. And there were several days of delay were common, with these kind of expeditions.
Right.
So it was not until the relatives of the travelers demanded a rescue operation on the 20th of February that the head of the institute sent the first rescue groups, which mostly consisted of volunteers, students, and teachers. But then later, apparently, the Army and militia forces got involved with planes and helicopters.
All right. Why would the military get involved for 9 hikers
In the middle
of nowhere?
right.
So that kind of makes you wonder.
If it was, yeah.
Because, I mean, they found radiation on the
Right.
bodies. So, why all of a sudden the military is like, alright, we'll help you look for these people.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, back in those days, from what we have been told, because we don't know for real, is the Russian military wasn't the easiest thing to get along with.
No.
So why all of a sudden they're like, okay, we'll help you look for these hikers.
Yeah.
So,
Apparently they had all kinds of crazy stuff going on. Because, there was always that. What was the? Because this would have been about the same time as that. What was it? The Russian sleep experiment things,
it's funny you said that, and all of a sudden your phone goes off.
Crazy.
I can find out for you.
Because this was like late 50s, so this was like Cold War type, wasn't it?
It was close, yeah. Let's do 15s. Let's see here. The Cold War was from 1947 to 1991.
So hell, it was a long time.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was that long.
And
But apparently the military would have involvement in all kinds of stuff back then. And probably still do today,
Yeah, we just don't know about it anymore.
Yeah. But, let's see. Apparently on February 26th, searchers found the group's abandoned and badly damaged tent.
The Russian sleep experiment, late 1940s.
Okay, so this was after.
Excuse me.
But apparently when they found this tent, they said the tent was half torn down and covered with snow. It was empty, and all the group's belongings and shoes, which is important, shoes, had been left behind. They said the tent had been cut open from the inside, and there were 8 or 9 sets of footprints left by people who were wearing only socks, a single shoe, or even barefoot, leading down towards the edge of the woods.
That's crazy.
Alright, let's see. So you see, it was, barefooted. It was running. They were leading towards the edge of the nearby woods. But after about 1,500 feet or so, the tracks were covered with snow.
Mm-hmm.
But at the edge of the forest, under a large pine tree there, they found the visible remains of a small fire. That's where they found the first two bodies of Krivan Kremchensko and Doroshensko. Doroshensko, maybe?
All right.
They were shoeless and dressed only in their underwear. The branches on the tree were broken up to 5 meters high.
Let's see here.
So that's what, close to 15 feet?
Yeah.
Suggesting that one of the skiers had climbed up to look for something. Maybe the camp or just other people. And between the pine and the camp, the searchers found 3 more bodies. Igor Dyatlov, Kolmogorova, and Slobodin, who seemed to have died, and poses suggesting they were attempting to return to the tent. They were found distances 300, 400, and 600 meters. Everything's in meters, I guess, because it's Russian.
Yeah.
From the tree.
Yeah, 5 meters is like 16 feet.
Yeah. Searching for the remaining 4 travelers took more than 2 months. So I guess they had to wait for some of the snow to melt.
They did.
So they were finally found May 4th under 4 meters of snow in a ravine that was farther into the woods,
right,
from that pine tree where they found the first 2. And they were better dressed than the others.
But didn't they have the most damage?
Yeah, I think so.
I think they had more like bone issues, didn't they?
Yeah. So, a medical examination found no injuries which might have led to their deaths. It is eventually concluded that they all died from hypothermia. Slobodin had a small crack in his skull, but they said it was not thought to be a fatal wound. The examination of the 4 bodies that were found in May, 3 of the ski hikers had fatal injuries, and that Debinina, they had major chest fractures.
Yeah, she was also the one that had the.
That was the one that's missing the tongue, wasn't it?
Right. She was missing her tongue, her eyes, part of her lips. She had facial tissue and damage, and also a fragment. Now, I don't understand this. A fragment of her skull bone was missing. So, I mean...
Yeah, that's... So, I mean, usually, like, if you hit your head or something like that, it's going to crush in.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're not going
to lose
break it off.
Right. And that, you know, the investigator said that she was found laying face down in a small stream that ran under the snow. So, you know, that caused putrefaction due to the wet environment and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And she also had some external injuries due to like the weight of the snow and stuff like that was on her. She had macerations on the palm of her hands too.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's more defensive wounds there.
Right. So I guess this is where the initial speculation that indigenous Mansi people may have attacked and murdered the group because they were encroaching on their lands.
Right.
But the investigation indicated that the nature of their deaths did not support the hypothesis. The hikers' footprints alone were visible, and they showed no sign of hand-to-hand struggle. So this is where the temperature was around negative 13, negative 22 degrees Fahrenheit.
That's cold.
Yeah. That's my balls have went back up into my body. That's where it was weird that they were only partially dressed.
They also said that some of them had only one shoe, while the others had no shoes and wore only socks. Some were found wrapped in snips of ripped clothing that had been seemed to be cut from those who were already dead. So
it kind of reminds you that, what was that movie, Alive? With
yeah.
The plane crash.
Yeah.
People eating each other and stuff. But
so they were pretty much taking clothing off their dead comrades, so they could stay warm. But only they weren't taking all of it. They were just taking little bits and pieces.
Yeah.
So why not? I mean, me personally, I'd be like grabbing an extra pair of socks, been layering up instead of being like, well, I'll just take a little bit.
Yeah.
They said that 6 of them died of hypothermia and 3 of fatal injuries.
Something about they died 6 or 8 hours after their last meal.
Let's see here. Let's see here. Some released documents contain no information about the condition of the skiers' internal organs.
And it says there were no survivors of the incident. So, I mean, of course, I guess they're not including the guy, Yuri, who left the group.
Yeah, if he left early.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, there were, let's see, apparently the region was closed to expedition or hikers for 3 years after this incident.
now this is what's weird. This is crazy. It said that the inquest officially ceased on May 1959 as a result, as the absence of a guilty party. The files were sent to a secret archive. On 12 April 2018, which was this year, the remains of Simon Zolotarev was exhumed upon the initiative of journalists of the Russian tabloid Pravda. I can't even pronounce that word now. The results were obtained. One of the experts stated that the character of the injuries resembled a person getting hit by a car.
Damn.
And the DNA analysis did not reveal any similarity to the DNA of the living relatives. So somehow this person's DNA got totally jacked up. In addition, it turned out that the name of Simon Zolotarev is not on the list of buried at the cemetery. Their list, the reconstruction of the face alone, the skull, coincides with the post-war photographs of the guy, although journalists expressed suspicions that another person was hiding under the name after the war.
So, but I mean,
So they're trying to say another guy took this guy's place, but paid the price for it eventually.
Yeah. Man, them injuries though.
So if that's the case, yeah, okay. If another person took another person's identity, of course his DNA's not going to match up.
Right.
So, okay, I can understand that. But if the reconstruction procedure shows that this person is this person, then there's something there.
So you think maybe the DNA was screwed up by the radiation?
That's a possibility. But it would have to take a
hell of a lot of radiation.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of radiation to screw up somebody's DNA.
Yeah.
Because that's pretty much like erasing it. Yeah, that's pretty good when you get down to the last bit of it.
Yeah, I think that I think it was, the military, they were in cahoots with the Yeti, sent the Yeti in to fuck them up, and then they covered it up.
Yeah. Of course, me. My theory is just military alone.
Yeah.
I think, the military was doing experiments. That region is isolated, it's remote. You can do anything you want to out there. Nobody's going to say or do anything. And then here comes these hikers that stumble across what you're doing.
Right.
And the military jumps on it. Because, it makes no sense. All of a sudden, 9 hikers come up missing, and then the military's like, hey, we'll help you.
Yeah, that's a little fishy. But yeah, there's all kinds of theories as far as what happened, You got, of course, the avalanche, but like we said before, the way, their tent and stuff was set up, that there was no way for that to happen. You got the infrasound experiment, which could produce or induce panic attacks, which I guess could cause them to tear open their tent and take off running. But still, infrasound, that would still have to be the military,
Yep.
You got, of course, you got military tests. There are speculations that the campsite fell within the Soviet Union's parachute mine during one of their exercises.
Yeah.
And that's where the orange glows were coming from that they were talking about.
A flare?
Well, it'd been the parachute mine coming down.
The parachute mine shouldn't have any lights on it.
Well, they just said it was an orange glow. They didn't say it was a light. And the theory was they were woken by the loud explosions. That's why they fled the tent. Let's see. Soviet. There are indeed records of parachute mines being tested in the area around the time the hikers were there. And just a fact that parachute mines detonate while they're still in the air rather than upon striking the earth, which could cause heavy internal damage with comparable less external trauma. So, that's where you can get all that damage without all the soft tissue. And then there's something about paradoxical undressing. Paradoxical. Is with means hypothermic subjects remove their clothes in response to a perceived feeling of burning warmth. It means they thought they were burning up, so they ripped off all their clothes. And then you got pseudo-scientific theories, of course, which kind of is in our field, you know. You got the mink or Russian Yeti. But oh dang! I'm kind of looking at a picture here of. Is that?
Yeah, it's one of them. Yeah.
Wow. Looks like it's just like frozen in fear or something, you know.
It actually showed a female in one of the photos.
Is that the one that's missing?
I don't know. Body's too bad.
Yeah. Can't tell. But yeah, getting back about the Mansi tribe. Apparently, the local tribesmen were known to be peaceful. So I mean, that kind of rules that out.
Right.
And you know how one of the theories was animal attack.
Right.
There are no animal tracks in the area.
I'm trying to find the name of the people again.
Trying to find the people, the names of the people.
Yeah.
I got them here for you. Let's see. You got, and I just lost it.
Did you have a Ludmilly?
Oh, let's see. Yeah. That's that Dubinina. Lydmila. That's her.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. That's that one that lost her
Yeah.
tongue and was missing her tongue and eyes. So I mean, it's pretty messed up. I mean, you know, like you said, to us it really seems like it's a bit, you know, had to be military. Because I mean, you got known military exercise going on in the area. Military, you know, decides, hey, you know, got these 9 hikers. Hey, let's we're gonna go ahead and help. And it's interesting that as soon as the military starts helping, they find them.
Right. I mean, that was a little too quick.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, they're using helicopters and stuff too, but...
Yeah, but these people are under 14 meters of snow. 4 meters of snow.
4 meters, yeah.
So, a helicopter's not going to find them in 4 meters of snow.
No.
I mean, that, yeah. Here's another photo. And it literally looks like this person's trying to climb up a side of a mountain to get away from something.
Yeah, it definitely does.
I mean, it looks like, you know, they got cornered and they turned to climb out of wherever they are.
Yeah. Like I said, it was a damn Yeti.
Damn them Yetis.
They're afraid he's going to tear him a new asshole.
Tore him something.
I mean, yeah, there's a lot of stuff out there about this. So, I mean, if you're get kind of interested in it, you know, you can look more into it. Of course, you can watch the movie, Devil's Pass. Didn't you have something about the another mountain or something?
Yeah, there was another mountain, Mount Kolat, Sakal, which in their dialect actually translates to Mountain of Death.
Yeah. Man, these people are going in the wrong direction.
I mean, first of all, I go anywhere and they go, "Hey, you going to the Mountain of Death?" I'm gonna be like, "No, thank you. I'm gonna go home."
Yeah. Yeah, that mountain. Don't go there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I won't.
I think I'll stay away. Thank you.
I don't care how good of a hiker I am, you know. I ain't doing it.
Nope. Not me. Sorry.
But you got any more information over there?
Mm-mm.
Well, if we can, we'll post some of these pictures on our Facebook page. I wonder if Facebook will take it down.
I don't know. I'll say you do it and see.
Yeah, I'll try to get those pictures posted. Of the bodies. So yeah, you can check us out, of course, on Facebook, which is going to be the Mainstream Paranormal Podcast. And check out our other Facebook page, Mainstream Paranormal Investigators. Of course, we'd like to hear from you.
Always. Definitely always.
So, I mean, that really is all I got on Dyatlov Pass.
No, there's not a lot about it. It's a lot of speculation.
That's what... It's just one of those, you know, everybody's got the same information.
Mm-hmm. You just got to draw your own conclusion to it. Like we drew ours.
Getting a little sleepy.
Yeah, actually.
What happens when we work nights and...
We're up 24 hours?
Yeah.
Yeah. That happens.
Well, hopefully our gravedigger over here gets him some sleep before he goes back to the grind.
Yeah. Can't sling no dirt. Dirt don't hurt.
Especially when you're already dead.
That's it. That's it. So,
but I think we're gonna go ahead and wrap up this podcast. If you liked it, give us a review. Whatever your favorite, whatever you use to listen to this podcast. Apple Podcast or Stitcher, Google Play. Or right there on our Facebook page.
we would love to hear from everybody out there. Let us know what you think. Tell us your comments. Give us suggestions.
Yeah, I mean, tell us what you want our next podcast to be. Of course, we're always taking requests. If you have something you need investigated. You know, that's our main thing is paranormal investigations.
Yep.
So we'd be happy to help you any way we can. But this podcast is gonna be a little bit shorter than most. But like we said, it's just research you can come up with is all the same.
Yeah.
But
I looked at several different sites, and they all had pretty much the same information.
Yeah. I mean, you can get several pages of stuff, but it's all going to say the same thing. I mean, it was a neat thing to look into.
I mean, it's a sad thing that 9 people lost their life.
Yeah.
You know, the way they did. And at the same time, one of these days this mystery's going to be solved. Somebody's going to figure out exactly what happened, and the whole world will be like ready to hear it. So, I think the Crypt Keeper's tired too, man.
Yeah. Yep, I think it's time I crawl back in the old crypt and get some shut eye. So, like I said, just dig us up on Facebook and tell us what you think. And if you got any suggestions on how to make our podcast better, we'd be glad to hear it. And take your criticisms along with, your likes and go from there. I mean, if you'd like to come on the show, let us know and we can try to set something up. Especially if you have a good story or something like that.
Yeah, we want to hear from everybody. Like I said earlier, so. And as Merle said, tell us your likes and criticisms and everything, and we'll just take it and we'll throw it all in a hat, and we'll use every little bit we can to make our podcast better. Like you said, we're trying to take off running.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what our next podcast will be on. All right. I'm Merle.
I'm Larry.
Thanks everybody for listening. That's about it.
Guys, be good, stay real, and hope to hear from you.